listening to Zap Night, a video game review podcast, with your hosts, Danny and Kaylie. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 31 for Zap Night. Yay. I'm your host, Danny.
And I'm your co-host, Kaylie.
Hey, Mama.
And I'm your co-host, Kaylie.
So today we are talking about Harvest Moon Magical Melody for the GameCube. Before we get started, a couple things that I want to talk about. We are doing a very limited small run of Zap Night shirts. So if anybody's actually interested in a Zap Night shirt, shoot us a message on Facebook or an email or however you want to get a hold of us, and just let us know that you're interested and what size you want, and we will send you what the estimated price is going to be. Typically, darker colors are going to be like $20, and lighter colors could be between, like 10 or so, but it just kind of depends on what it is. So let us know if you're at all interested, and we'll work with you, and we'll ship it out to you and all that fun stuff. So aside from that, we also have a secondary, we're going to start doing 2 podcasts a month. This is going to start in November. So along with me and Kaylie doing a podcast on the 1st, we actually have a second team that we are working with, Evan and Seth, who are going to be coming in and playing on the 15th of every month. So,
look forward to that.
Yeah, we're totally going to be having lots more content with them. They're going to be doing a lot of the shooter games, I think. Not exclusively, but I think that they're a little more into the shooter stuff. We're kind of not. So, their first game that they're going to be playing is Halo. So that Halo episode will be out November 15th. So there's still going to be one more, regularly scheduled monthly podcast, but then in November it's going to go down to every 2 weeks. So keep a lookout for that. I'm super excited to have more people join the crew. I'm excited to be able to put out more content for everyone. I will it'll be the same setup as you see now. They're doing the exact same format that we follow, so it's exciting to have new faces on the show and different backgrounds and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So there's more on our website, so go over there, check it out. You can actually watch a episode where me, Kaylie, Seth, and Evan all sit down and play
party games.
A bunch of Wii party games. Yeah, a lot of really crazy, weird, babies. Not babysitting. It was like party babies. Yeah. So that was a lot of
fun.
But yeah, I think it's exclusively on our Facebook page. Yeah, right now it is. So go to our Facebook, check that out if you're interested. There's also going to be links to Seth and Evan's individual channels on YouTube as well on our website for sure. There's also going to be some information down in the description of this podcast video and podcast page. So all that information is out and about, available for you guys to find and follow,
nice,
and and all that fun stuff. So let's move on to our podcast episode. Harvest Moon Magical Melody. I am having the worst time today with saying Animal Crossing instead of Harvest Moon. So if I say that a lot, I apologize. I mean Harvest Moon. We have not played Animal Crossing.
Well,
getting that out of the way.
We have.
We didn't this month. We have in a previous podcast episode.
But yeah,
that's different.
Check that podcast.
Yes, absolutely. If you like Harvest Moon and you also like Animal Crossing, we've also played Animal Crossing. So anyway, Magical Melody was developed by Natsume on the GameCube and Wii. And it was actually ported to the Wii after the GameCube release, but it wasn't released in Japan on the Wii. So that's kind of a weird situation going on there. In Japan, it was released in November 2005. And
in North America.
North America in 2006. And then for the Wii, it was released in 2008, but it was only released in what, Australia?
Yeah, something.
Australia,
something
North America on the Wii. So yeah, nobody else really got the Wii version, which I think is interesting.
No, everywhere else did but Japan got the Wii
but
version.
Japan.
Yeah, Australia got it first, and then I think North America got it in like 2009.
Maybe Australia never got the original one, so they were
Maybe.
trying to push the Wii one to them.
I don't know, it was really weird researching it. So.
It's probably because they were released. This game, Magical Melody, was released like right in between the Wii GameCube switchover, so they probably wanted to push it to the Wii first. But either way, I mean, it works out. So you want to talk about the story?
So you start out. Your character like reads, I don't know, like a paper or something. The town of or the Flower Bud Village is looking for a rancher. And so when you arrive at the ranch, you get like a little cutscene, and there's like a harvest goddess, and she ends up turning to stone. So the way it's set up is with your character.
Does your character have a name?
No.
No.
Your character is you. You're
Yeah.
just playing. Well, you do get to set up its name.
But your character is like summoned by the Rice Krispie guys
Well,
to the
it's kinda
goddess
strange.
like temple.
Your Rice Krispie guys realize that you can see them. So
Oh
not
yeah,
everyone
that's
can
what
see
it
them.
was. Yeah, that's what it was.
So they bring you to the harvest goddess, who has turned to stone by this point, and it's kind of because the villagers have kind of lost interest. They kind of just, I don't know, they're not loving, they're not kind, they're just...
I think that they've forgotten. I think that that's what it is. Like, they've forgotten the old ways.
Yes, that's more accurate,
And
yeah.
so she's turned to stone, and by Rice Krispie guys, we mean...
The little harvest sprites.
Yeah, they are. And they, they're like little gnomes type looking people, but they look exactly like the Rice Krispie guys, and they're actually like the same color too. Or there's a little blue one, there's a little yellow one, and there's a little red one. So I've been calling them Snap, Crackle, and Pop ever since I started.
Yes, the Rice Krispie gang. So they bring you to the harvest goddess, and they show you that she's turned to stone because of all of this. And they kind of task you with the job of finding all of these magical music notes. And when you collect all these music notes, 5 of them turn into a musical instrument, and you're supposed to kind of collect them all to make these instruments that in turn create a melody, I think is really what they're aiming for. So with that, your character is... Well, by the way, you also have a rival in this, who can also see them.
I never really understood the point of the rival. Like, she was just there to be a jerk. He, she, I don't know.
Well, so you get the option of choosing to be a boy or girl, and depending on what gender you pick, your rival is the opposite gender. Because so the rival, who's Jamie, by the way, is kind of androgynous. So and for my version, Jamie was a boy, and for your version, Jamie's a girl. And you have the potential to marry them.
Does Jamie actually look like the opposite?
Jamie looks the same.
Oh, okay.
No matter what. So it's just the text is kind of...
Oh, I see. The text is different depending on who you are.
So you and your rival, technically, are supposed to collect these notes to help revive the harvest goddess. So these notes, which turn to magical instruments, you're supposed to create the melody, if you will.
Right, yeah.
The notes themselves are kind of... So they're hidden throughout the village, and they're hidden in, like... So you're kind of tasked with, like, multi things that you kind of get hints on in your menu, but you find them in, like, befriending certain villagers.
They're basically, like, achievement goals.
Yeah, they really are.
And that's really all they are. Like, after you ship so many wool, you get an achievement note. And after you walk so many steps, you get an achievement note. So that's really, your goal is to collect these notes to bring the harvest goddess back to life. That's it. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward.
Right, it really is. But you're still a villager, though, which is nice. So you, as a villager, you get the option of growing your own crops, raising your own livestock, foraging the land. You get to build multiple buildings and structures like windmills and wells. And you're supposed to help your village thrive, which is kinda... People are leaving, people are coming, and you're helping build, like, the library.
You're essentially
and cafe.
single-handedly holding up a
holding
village.
up a village, yeah. So the game also features the 4 seasons in a 30-day month period. So there's 4 months basically, day by day. You get 10 options if you're a boy and 10 options if you're a girl for different bachelors and bachelorettes. And there's also your rival you can potentially marry. So you can choose your potential marriage candidate, and you can actually become a mommy and or daddy. But, so after you have worked really hard at your village and all this stuff, you manage to get halfway through, the Harvest Goddess is actually revived at the 50 note mark.
Which ended up being kind of our goal. So when we first started off, it was like, okay, if you hit 50 notes, you essentially beat the game because you achieve the main storyline's quest or progress, or
which is reviving the Harvest Goddess.
Right. So after you do that, you get the end credits, and you get like an ending sequence and all that. So for me, that was like, okay, I just have to get to 50. I have to get to 50, and then I'll be done. You had that, and I swear, like, the first month that we played.
Oh, yeah, I was hardcore into this game.
Yeah. Me, not so much.
I tried so hard to be 100%, and I got close. I was at, I believe, 85 notes.
Yeah, nice.
So if I had just another 2 weeks, no problem.
Yeah, well, that's partially my fault. We're recording this episode a little bit early because I have a lot of stuff going on here towards the end of September. So, I kind of had to push this one out a little bit more than what I normally would do, but it worked out. I still made it. I still got the 50 notes, just barely, but I got the 50 notes, and we are here recording an episode.
But granted, you revived the Harvest Goddess, and they still push you to do the other 100 notes, or the 50, all of the rest of the 50 notes, but...
It's kind of like, Cool Spot, where they're just like, nope, you gotta do everything still.
I kind of felt like, though, it was... Because, some of those are really hard to get.
Yeah.
Like, you really need a strategy guide or something, unless you're playing religiously.
Yeah.
But so I thought it was nice that you got it halfway through as kind of a reward for participation trophy, if you will.
Yeah. It's like, well, you did it.
Did your best.
So, is that it for story?
Yeah, for the most part. There's
the story in a nutshell.
Whole lot of story.
Really, it goes back to the Animal Crossing feel. Like, the story is your progression through the game. It's your own experience in this game. And to be honest, that was a lot of fun. Like, that aspect of it. Not, like, the actual story that they're trying to tell of, like, people losing touch with nature and kind of growing their own crops and enjoying the small town life is, an old way. I get that, and I feel for that aspect of the story. And there's a lot of characters who are super into like Maria, which is that was my wife in the game. Boo? Yeah, my waifu. She was really into like the nature aspect. She was really sad about hearing about the goddess turning to stone, and so I mean there was some people who really felt for that aspect of it, and I like that. I like that little touch to it. Like, city life isn't for everyone, sort of thing.
When I was thinking about scoring the story, I kind of forgot to think about it like this. The villagers in there kind of have their own backstory. And if you correctly, because we blew through the game to get this, but if you properly level up each villager's hearts and give them gifts and all this stuff, you can trigger events, if you will, and you can learn a little bit more about some of these, especially like your marriage candidate. You'll learn a little bit more about them, and some of them have relatives that are in the village, and some of them that's the reason why they're there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like little sub stories too. So I feel like it kind of made up for the lack of story, because I mean it's your story anyway. So there is more than just one story too, which is kind of nice.
So what did you give it for a story?
first I think I gave it a 5, and then when I thought about like the other sub stories, I gave it a 7 because I appreciated that.
I gave it a 7 too, and I think mine. I have a very similar opinion about that. Like it was, your story was the story of the game, but you really could get some backstory to each of the characters, if only a little bit. But it was enough to justify them being in the town. It was enough to justify, like. Again, Maria is the only person I really knew in this game, but she was the librarian, and it was because she had this love for books. She was the mayor's daughter, so she didn't necessarily have to sell any items to
a lot of these characters
sustain life.
A lot of these characters were related to other characters in some way, and it wasn't like they weren't all like brother and sister. And in fact, I don't even think there might have been one or two.
There was a handful that was like so-and-so's uncle or
grandfather, stuff like that, which I thought it was cool and cute.
And it's kind of fun to find these connections too throughout the game.
The only thing that I wish there was more of was as you're reviving the Harvest Goddess, you're supposed to go back every 5 notes, and you get one reward, which is a power berry,
and that's at what, 30 notes?
Yeah, 30 notes. But it's the same text, same happiness.
Yeah, you see, I had the same problem with that whole giving the notes to the little elves. There was no push to do that. There was no incentive to go back to visit them, because every time you did, it was just a small little cutscene of transforming those 5 notes into an instrument, and then that's it. Give us a special berry, or give us a special seed or something to help you along your way.
For me, after you revive the goddess, it's still the same thing.
Yeah,
and I would even feel like even if there was pointless dialogue, of some sort of dialogue, something different to make you want to come back, oh, well, this instrument, and now it seems like there's more life in this part of the village, or something, anything, just not the same.
Oh, now,
go collect more.
You've collected the violin, now, your crops grow 5 times faster, or something like that. Yeah, just some more incentive to do that aspect of the game.
I think there might be a little bit. Honestly, I really didn't go back after 50 notes. You do get a little bit of cutscenes with Jamie and stuff, but not enough. Especially the first 50 notes. It's just I
thought that Jamie was just
a jerk,
pointless.
Yeah,
it was just a pointless character.
They had Jamie in your menu. It showed your rival, how much your rival is shipping versus how much you're shipping, and who excelled and where. And
I think it was a percentage thing.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was
but
there was a bar, and it was if you didn't ship anything, then Jamie could be 99%, and you would have 1%.
They did have in a certain menu, it showed how much money's worth Jamie shipped in certain departments, like dairy or ores, and then farm crops and all that stuff. But I don't think it was necessary, but I think for the storyline, it was just extra fluff, maybe.
I just didn't get it. There was no reason for him to be a jerk. There was no reason for her to... I don't know, there was no rivalry there. It was just one person was just a jerk, and that was it. There was no incentive to go out and produce more food or anything, because it's not doing that would help you make any more money. Beating Jamie didn't do anything better for the town. There was just no point.
What I think they might have been trying to go for is Jamie is the embodiment of why the Harvest Goddess turned to stone. Is an angry person, there's really not much drive, I'm just gonna do it on myself, and all that type of stuff. I think that's, and then you are the exact opposite, which is how the Harvest Goddess is supposed to get back to life.
Right, yeah. That makes some sense.
But, I mean,
I never even thought of it that way.
Yeah.
She was just there to be...
Annoying,
yeah. The one extra character in each festival that you had to, hunt down and be snarked at, You
kind of always need, the quote-unquote bad guy character, and I guess that was, the
foe. But, I mean, you don't really have that in Animal Crossing.
Some of the
clearly,
other ones,
they can get away with it.
Some of the other ones was kind of not... And it wasn't like Jamie collected music notes, either. You were on your own, so... I don't know.
Now, if there was some, like, battle between you and your rival, like, if Jamie's percentage was higher, she gets more money and you don't get as much money. So that's going to drive you to focus on crops that she's not working on so that, your farm produces as much, she's not producing any potatoes. So you're going to try and sell potatoes because they're going to sell more because she's not selling any, or something, just to have some battle
or
in there.
Even, like, because at the festivals, you enter your sheep and your cows and all that stuff, and you kind of just enter yours and then it just skips to the next scene. It would have been nice if you had like some kind of dialogue or something of competition of showing Jamie's sheep versus your sheep.
Yeah.
Even if it's like the same dialogue each year, showing in something, but you don't even have that. It's just my sheep's gonna win, and then you win.
Yeah, I know. I know. They're all of those are like that too. Like all of the competition things, there is no like competition cutscene. It's just I wonder who's gonna win, and then you've won, or you don't win, and that's it. There is no, like, you don't see who won, or I think it's just you or Jamie, and that's usually it.
They do have
doesn't make any sense.
They do have a couple of them where are mini games. Like the horse race is a mini game.
I wasn't cool enough to do those.
You had the beach one. There was a beach one where you swim. I hated that one. I had to restart a couple times.
Yeah.
And then you've got, of course, your different... I liked the different festivals where you could... Like, whoever you had, like, the most relationship with, you got to go to, like, the fireworks.
Right,
and that one was fun. I liked that part.
Sure.
There was more story, more of a connection, so...
Who did you marry?
I married Blue. the cowboy. That's how they referred to him in the... And that's what he said all the time. He was kind of... I don't know. I always married him. I kind of regret marrying him only because I always married him. I would have gone for Dan if I thought about it more. I would have gone for Dan. Not because I like Dan.
Dans are awesome.
It's true. Well, one of my favorite kind of character types was Dan's type. He reminded me kind of like a pirate, like the cool, sexy pirate.
You say that you every time that you play this, how many times have you played this?
Not a whole lot,
before this playthrough.
Blue actually kind of shows up in a different Harvest Moon as Gray. Either he's of some relation or it's just a different version of him, but he shows up as Gray. And I don't know if I married... Well, there's so many different Harvest Moons out there.
Right, and you played a lot of them.
Yeah, and he was one of my favorite characters. I think that's why I always went for him. But I've played this probably 3 or 4 times.
This game?
This specific game, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of already had an upper advantage on the controls and stuff, which I know you had a lot of issues with.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I married Maria.
Maria!
The whole process of giving gifts to raise the hearts, it's tough. It's tough because I understand, like, the gameplay aspect of it. Like, they didn't want you to get too much progress in any single day, but I felt like that it was so minimal contact with that person. Like, I wish that there was opportunities to, once you had, like, 5 hearts with somebody, you can go and do something.
Well, you technically do with your festivals.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still don't feel like that there was enough.
I would have appreciated if maybe... Like, in the morning you could give them something, and then in the afternoon.
Maybe, yeah.
Or if you could have different dialogues through different times of the day. Or in different places of the town.
If you see the one that or anyone, really, you see them at their workplace, they have a different dialogue than if you see them at the beach, or if you see them outside your house for some reason.
Generally, you talk to them with their initial dialogue, and then after that, it's, see you later.
Yeah, I know.
So you'll see them, like, 5 hours later at a cafe, they're like, see you later.
Yeah, that kind of bothered me. But in any case, I mean, I enjoyed my progression with seeing Maria and trying to
get new dialogue.
Yeah,
each heart, honestly, new dialogue. Just say something different to me, Maria.
Please.
Some of these characters were jerks too.
As soon as you get a new heart with them, like you have a heart bar for every character, and as soon as you get a new heart, their dialogue changes. And as soon as you notice their dialogue being different, especially when you're talking to someone every single day and they say the same thing over and over and over again, and then it's like, oh, it's new, I must have a new heart, you know? Like, oh, this is an exciting day.
Yeah.
My eggplant has finally paid off.
You chose like one of the worst girls.
Really?
I feel like it only because a lot of her loved items were kind of like you'd have to be in a certain time of year.
The spinach was easy because they sell the spinach,
right? But it was expensive.
So I mean, I could just buy the spinach up, and I gave her spinach every day, and she loved the spinach,
the boiled spinach.
So it was super easy to just buy it up, cook it, and give it to her every day. Where the eggplant only is produced in the fall. And she likes eggplant, but she loves the high quality eggplant. So it was like I was giving her all of my expensive eggplant that I could otherwise be selling. So really, it kind of balanced out as far as like, you know, the eggplant versus the spinach. But still, I mean, it didn't bother me any. The money aspect of it didn't bother me.
It bothered me because, for one thing, I needed her for a different note. But then on top of it, she was a bachelorette, which was an additional note. Like her 2 heart mark, you get something from her. She gives it a lot of all the bachelors and bachelorettes give you something on usually their second heart.
Yeah.
And they visit your house. So I was aiming for 100 notes. So I had to, to give her this on top of everyone else I'm giving gifts to. It was
you only need to give an egg.
Yeah. So I had to go through and buy the spinach and boil it just for this one person.
I can understand that.
And you're willing to do that for your marriage candidate, of course. But when I was a girl playing her, I couldn't marry Maria.
No reason to do more than the 2 hearts.
So it wasn't. There was like 3 or 4 characters where there was an inconvenience like that, but it wasn't terrible. But
sure.
It was nice to be able to buy the spinach, I have to say.
Right, yeah. Now, for me, once I finally got enough hearts to marry her, it was like this, obviously you have this huge buildup of like, you see her every day and you're giving her gifts every day, and then it's like, she finally starts saying, is there someone that you love? Like, hint, hint. And then finally, when you have all of like your ducks in a row, you have to have that. You have to have the house. You have to have the bed. You have to, everything has to be just right. Then you finally are you're allowed to marry her. To which you get this like cut scene where the mayor sends you to the cliff, and then you got to do the little mini game to get up to the top of the cliff and get the feather. For me, this whole like build up was a lot of fun, and it was exciting. And it's like, I carried this, my bag was full at the time, so it was like, I carried this feather from the cliff all the way down the mountain, all the way through town, to hand deliver this gift to her. And she was just like,
oh, thanks.
Thanks, I accept. And then that was it. There was no like, cha-ching! It was just, thanks, I accept this. And then nothing. And I'm like, well, shoot, that was boring.
I know,
like, I was so excited. It was like this epic build up to like a flop. So that said, like that same day, I went and I did my normal routine of feeding the animals and doing the crops, and then the next day is your wedding day, and that was really neat. Like that was cute. It was so pretty, and for me it was in winter, so like everything was snow covered, and you're wearing different outfits, and she's got this really pretty dress on. It's super, super cute. And then like they move in, it's fun and everything, but it was just still like this build up for this engagement, like, I guess.
I mean, at this point, you've given me enough eggplant.
I think it's just that there was no excitement from her. Like, I was expecting like this, maybe it's a Western thing, for like this engagement to be this exciting, like, I can't believe this is happening. This huge buildup has led to this moment, and it's happening. It's finally happening. And then for me, it was just nothing.
When did you really pursue courting her? Like giving her gifts every day? Like what season? It wasn't until kind of later on until you really established yourself, right?
Yeah, I want to say like maybe summer.
See,
late summer, maybe.
For me, because I knew who I was going to marry, I think because I I was doing it every day. Like
From the beginning.
When it came to the festivals, you kind of do these little like cutesy things, like you kiss at the end of some of them, and they say, I really only feel this way about you, and that type.
Yeah. See, if I'd have had that, I would have.
It's not the same. Like I understand what you're saying. The engagement should be more than okay.
Yeah.
It would be nice for a little mini cutscene, something,
or just to have her spin around and have a heart emoji or something, just to show this, like, oh, she's so happy, Nothing. It was just all right, I accept.
What you brought up to me, which I have thought about in the past, but I understand the blue feather. It's a Harvest Moon staple. Why didn't you have the option to actually make rings? Why isn't that part of it? They make you jump through hoops for the house and the bed as it was anyway. Why not make you throw in the ring too? Or at least receive a ring.
Okay, so I got the hearts, and then I got the bed, I got the house, and then I bought the bed. And once I bought the bed, I was expecting something to happen, like a cutscene or something. It's like I talked to Maria, nothing. I talked to her dad, nothing. I walked. I tried to climb the cliff. It was before you were on. I climbed the cliff. There was nothing up at the top of the cliff. I'm like, what the heck am I supposed to do? So then I went to the mine because I thought, well, shoot, maybe I just need to get myself a diamond ring. I'm like, it's winter. I'll just run down and grab a diamond, and I have it ready to go. So I went all the way down. I got a diamond, brought it back up, gave it to the guy. And then I went to bed, and the next day it was like, surprise! The mayor was there, which is ironic because the mayor is Maria's dad. So I thought it was funny that he was like,
what are your intentions with my daughter?
No, it was actually kind of sweet. It was like, I know that you have a crush on someone in this town. Like, I don't know. It was kind of fun. Like, I felt like I was getting permission from the mayor's, the mayor, her dad. Yeah. It was, I don't know, it was kind of cute.
The odor?
The odor. Yeah, we kept calling him the odor. Which, okay, so me and Kaylie, when we played, when I was streaming my game, she would jump on the phone. So if you go to our YouTube page, you can see all of the gameplay footage that I have uploaded.
All the goofy footage.
There's a handful of them where Kaylee's logged in, and you can hear her talk with me.
Yeah, talking.
And she's playing at the same time, too. So we kind of have built this, like, not at all legit, like, story to some people.
We've written our own fan fiction.
We totally have. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So, okay. Theodore, who's the mayor, I call him the odor because Theodore spelt out is the odor.
Kinda, yeah.
No, it totally is. Yeah. So, I mean, as soon as I saw him, that's how because I've got...
Yeah.
My brain works in mysterious ways. So I've always called him the odor just because it's funny. So Mr. Odor and, whatever. So anyway, I always see him out and about, like, at night and, like, random times. Places. So we've called him, like, he does every aspect of, like...
He's the police. He's the mayor, he's the police, the fire department, the detective.
He's the beachcomber.
Yes, in his spare time. He's Maria's dad.
Yeah. So, I mean, he wears many, many hats. We were talking about making a book.
the mystery novel of, the odor.
And then, where he's not only the detective, but he's also the bad guy. Ooh, yes. Twist.
It was the perfect crime. What I thought was funny is every time you'd walk outside the library, you just sit there and wait, like, Maria! Open the door! I know you're in there! And then we started singing the song.
I know. Maria, Maria. Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. And, of course, we played till, like, 1 in the morning.
Oh, man, we played, especially this past, like, week.
Back to back, almost.
We were playing, like, every night, if not, like, every couple nights at least. And we were staying up, like, till midnight or later.
Which I'm not used to doing for sure.
Yeah,
so it was getting to the point where we were getting, like, goofy
and sleep deprived for sure.
And there's a lot of singing going on.
So if that sounds like a lot of fun to you, go to our YouTube page and watch some of our Let's Plays for this game. Especially our last, like, 2 episodes where we're just being weird. So if you don't want to see that, you might not want to, I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of that background lore that we've built into this game.
To make up for the storyline.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And honestly, my whole experience with this game, that was the best. Was being able to just sit and chill out and hang out with you, and that was the best part of this whole game.
And that's kind of how this game, we were kind of talking about scoring this. That's how the game is meant to be played. Yeah. As a chill, like something just to kind of do and relax with, and
see the cute animals, and
do your chores, talking with each other. It was a lot of fun, I have to say. It was a lot of late nights.
And I think that's what's challenging about scoring this game, is that we played it in such a short amount of time, and it's just not meant to be played that way. So as we, we're still on story, which this is kind of our story, but as we talk a little bit more about some of these other aspects, we're trying to take that into some consideration. That this game really is meant to be played long term. So, if you decide to pick up this game, or really any Harvest Moon Animal Crossing, this type of game style is meant to be played on a long term basis, and to spend many hours, playing it, if only like a couple hours a night. So, we plowed through this game to get to our goal, which was the 50 notes. You almost got to 100.
Almost.
So, I mean, we really pushed to get this game out. So, if you're taking your time, you might have more fun than even we had playing this game.
I had a lot of fun playing this game, but I was really looking forward to it, because it's one of my favorite Harvest Moons.
Sure. So, okay, let's end the story. Let's move on. I'm sure we'll bring more of our weirdness up later, but graphic wise, I really had no problem with the graphics.
There was a few times where it got a little glitchy on me.
Yeah.
I actually have a picture of Martha inside an old stump or a stake.
She like glitched into it or something?
What happened was my town, or my farm, where the animals are, my barn, it was perimetered with fresh steaks.
Yeah.
Well, one of them got old and rotted. So I picked it up and threw it onto the beach, and I got booed for it. Boo! But I left it there thinking I would take care of it later, and then I filled it in with a new one, and I just kind of went on my day. Well, I forgot about it, and it kind of sat there for a while, actually. So we started a beach festival, and everyone is kind of like put into a spot already, like a fixed spot. And it so happened that Martha was in where that steak was. So she's in the middle of this rotten steak, and I'm like, And when I talked to her, she actually, like, popped out, but it still was kind of, it was funny.
That is pretty weird. I didn't have any glitchy issues. I didn't really have any complaints about the graphics themselves. Everything was really clean and fun and cutesy. Really, I mean, there was no issues with it. It wasn't like, it wasn't like top of the line GameCube graphics for me anyway. I'm
it's
thinking
kind of its own like chibi cute.
Oh yeah,
style.
It is. But I think that they could have pushed it a little bit more. Like maybe I guess I'm kind of comparing it to like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. How beautiful the water was and how realistic everything felt. This game just didn't quite have that.
I will say the food dishes, if you had made some, I don't think you really did a whole lot, but some of the food dishes looked really tasty.
Yeah.
But the grass, to me, I really liked the way.
I liked that too,
that was kind of cool.
I liked how everything, there was so many unique sprites for everything. Like, there were so many different plants that you could have. There were so many different rocks. There were so many different fish. There were so many different animals.
There's a lot of variety.
And there was so much of that. They put so much effort into all of that.
I was a little sad, this is petty, but this is how I am, because when I liked these games, I would love to have the option, like we had said, it would be nice to have the option to customize your character, even if it's just a little bit.
Just to change your clothes.
Your hair or something.
Yeah.
They had a few items that you build your house up, you can expand your house really far, I think to level 5, and you get it upstairs. And the stuff you fill it in with, you get like different tables.
There's no interaction with it.
Yeah, you don't get to sit down and stuff. There's you get like vases and stuff, and everything looks really nice. And you have different styles, like so. There's a pink version of like a table, and then there's a polka dot version and a woodsy type.
Right.
And it's kind of how it is with certain things. So you can have like a set, but some things I would have liked to have changed the color on. So you only get to buy 2 couches. One is like a sofa, and the other is like a chair. And the chair is like green, and the sofa is like a cream or something like that.
Yeah.
And my green chair in front of my big, huge honking TV looks so out of place with the rest of my house. But I didn't want to just throw a rocking chair in front of it.
Right, yeah.
And on top of that, when you get to lay out your furniture, you only see what you're
one
placing.
item that you're moving around.
You don't get to see like you can see the spots where the TV is, but they're just gray spots. You can't
see it as the whole room. You just kind of have to get an idea of where things are at.
And that menu was like dumb looking. I hated that menu.
The menu, and it was so complicated to find stuff. Like, I needed just a menu with everything that had like little sprites of what the items were.
And you had to figure out what was named, and then it was like in order of how you bought it, so that your newest bought item was all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, it was laid out.
It was kind of dumb, yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I wish that there was interaction with some of the items in your house. Most notably for me, the only thing that I bought that had no reason for buying was the stove. I had a wood fire stove that I thought that I was going to need. Like, I could maybe cook pizza or something in. But no, it was like just decoration. Yeah. It was like I put it in my room and I'm like, okay, I don't have room for anything else. I can't interact with it. I can't use it in any way. So why is it here? Like, I never even used it. Like, I bought it, I threw it in my room, and I immediately took it out and never touched it again.
That said, though, you had a lot of options for like cooking and stuff.
Oh yeah. And there was a lot of stuff that you could interact with, but there was just a lot of like useless items that was like filler. Like even the chair that you had, you couldn't even sit in it.
I know.
What fun is that? There's no point.
Well,
just no point.
Some of the like places you get to visit, like the cafes and stuff, you have chairs that are at an angle sitting in there. I couldn't angle mine, so mine looked like a single chair,
just like randomly
off to the side in front of the table. Like it wasn't centered. That drove me nuts.
Yeah,
and that type of stuff was a little frustrating.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's not the point of the game, but it would have been nice if there was more customization. I would have loved that.
Yeah. So I don't know. What did you give it for graphics?
8 out of 10.
I gave it an 8 too. I mean, it goes back to it wasn't as good as it possibly could have been, but I didn't have any super complaints about it. Kind of nitpicking at this point.
I don't know really where this more appropriately falls to, but to be able to play as a girl at the time when I got into Harvest Moons, I didn't know a whole lot about them, but my first Harvest Moon was Save the Homeland. Yeah, for the PlayStation 2. And they had a PlayStation 1 version where you could play as a girl, and usually they're separate games, where this one had both the girl and the boy.
So that was like a big deal at the time?
And that was a big deal for me, which is why I bought it. Unfortunately, for the Wii, it was only the male version that got ported.
That's weird.
And they're silly. But
how hard is it to just swap sprites?
I don't know if this is
swap sprites and maybe change the dialogue a little bit? I don't know.
I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I really feel like majority is female based playing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You're probably right.
I mean, that's just how I feel. I don't know what it is, but
for looking from a like graphic based point of view, like all the animals are super cutesy. There's a lot of like pink and colorful type stuff. It really seems like it's geared to like younger female audience.
Yeah.
So I mean, it seems odd that they wouldn't focus on trying to put your main character as a female character, especially if you're going to be trying to marry and have kids or whatever else. It seems odd to me. But, whatever. That's just how it is. I can't change it. I can only report it.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yep, same here. So let's move to music. I give it a 4 out of 10.
Now gonna move on to gameplay?
Oh, did I miss it?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, gameplay. Let's talk about gameplay.
Marriage, baby, play as a female. Yes. Those were fun.
Those were good.
I liked to have the baby. I liked that your wife could have a baby.
Yeah, totally.
You didn't really have those options. Like I said, for me, when this game was around that time,
it was a big deal.
It wasn't. like now they're a little more in there out there. The more of the games, there's more games out there with these options, I'm sure. But
Sure.
it was a big deal getting this because you got to have a baby, which I know is silly, but that was like one of the main reasons why I like this game.
Right.
I know you had a lot of issues with this.
I mean, really, my biggest issue was the way that the game was built on the grid. I think that was my biggest complaint. Is that
it had good intentions.
The movement and the placement of stuff was all built grid style. So when you pick items up, you're picking on a very specific spot on the grid, and if you're not orientated perfectly in the direction that you want to be, you're not going to pick up the item that you're looking for. So it makes it so frustrating when you're trying to pick up something very specific and you pick up the item next to it, or you drop an item in the wrong spot, or you're plowing the wrong square. It's just all that stuff really made this game frustrating for me.
I ran into an issue which it kind of made me upset at times. I would go up to my cow, I would be facing it, I would brush its face and would brush the cow behind it. Yep. Completely out of reach. Why? I mean, completely opposite side.
I had a problem where every time I tried to put food, like
that was frustrating. I know what you're talking about.
In
the barrel, the bins.
The bin is specifically in the barn. Sometimes the chickens had a problem too, but specifically in the barn, if all the animals like to line up along the like trough, and when you try and place anything in there, it just instantly goes to the animal that you're closest to. Like, even if your square is in the trough, because there's a way that you can check what square you're focusing on, and even if your square is on that trough, you will put the food down and your animal will eat it automatically. Like, it doesn't even go into the trough.
I kind of figured out how to do it without feeding him, but I still ended up feeding him a lot.
It got to the point where there was no reason I'm putting food in that trough. I was either putting it in the other trough where no animals were at, or just feeding them by hand 100% of the time.
Generally, so the care for your animals was you got hearts for talking to them, feeding them by hand, brushing them, and or milking them, brushing them, depending on what kind of animals.
Sharing or whatever.
Yeah. So feeding them, you were really feeding them by hand anyway, but if like a typhoon came by, you couldn't feed them that day. So you would want those boxes filled. And which is fine, but it took which thankfully time doesn't pass in your barn, but man, it just
was frustrating trying to move them out of the way.
And if you didn't have a whole lot of feed,
yeah.
Oops, I guess you're not eating tomorrow.
Yeah, the grid thing drove me nuts. I mean, even like in the cave, mine, if you didn't have your spot, like if you didn't have the right spot selected, you would hit the wrong spot, and then you've wasted the energy on hitting that wrong spot. And sometimes, even if you had your grid spot like in the right spot, it would still hit the wrong spot. Like, it was so frustrating.
I think it was taking into consideration which way your character was facing, regardless what grid was selected.
Why?
There's no
reason for that. It just in that aspect, it seemed very glitchy, and that was all in the gameplay section. I mean, that's
speaking of frustrating things in the mines.
Yeah,
going up.
Oh yeah, falling up. Down. There's no reason for falling up.
Well, it was supposed to make it more difficult to get to the bottom, but it made it overly difficult.
Well, why not? Instead of falling up, why not have some spots that had no drops at all? Like level 10. Level 10 was frustrating in its own way, just because if you didn't have a hoe, there was no way to go down any further. So, like, how hard would that have been to have multiple levels where you could only go down one level? Instead of this falling up 10 levels. It didn't even make sense. It didn't make any sense. It was so frustrating.
It was like... It was
maybe the wind was blowing you and
it made it made no sense. It was ridiculous.
So yeah, that was very annoying.
Would you give it?
I did give it an 8 out of 10.
Oh, really?
I know it's kind of surprising. I guess for me, it's more of how the gameplay worked as a whole for what you were trying to accomplish. Like the functions of feeding your animals and living life as a farmer I just kind of enjoyed that. I enjoyed that mindlessness of, trying to live from day to day and just enjoying the overall experience of that. And the festivals, while they were kind of blah, they were so fun. The worst thing about the festivals was that everything shut down. So you literally, all you could do was feed your animals and do the festival,
but
and that
it's
was
kind of like how holidays are.
I guess, yeah. I understand the thought process
concept
behind it, but there were some things that if you wake up one day and it's a festival and the next day is a typhoon, but you have no feed, you're kind of screwed, You can't do anything
unless have animal medicine and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. It's annoying.
For me, it was just, I gave it a 5 out of 10, and I felt like there was just too many little inconsistencies that it was like the gameplay overall is fun, I agree, but it would have been more enjoyable if I didn't like the menu. I didn't it was a cute design, but it was frustrating to go. I was constantly hitting all these different buttons, going back and forth, hitting different things, grabbing the wrong
How many
thing.
times did you accidentally eat your items instead
several
of putting
times,
them in the...
dropped them, lost them, couldn't pick stuff up. You couldn't switch items out when you were holding them.
Oh, yeah, I had that problem too.
It just was a little too much for me, so I just kind of gave it a 50-50 there.
Makes sense. Yeah, I totally get it.
I understand your point, though. And overall, the gameplay is enjoyable.
For me that if I was given more time to play the game, if I was playing it way more leisurely than I was,
then it wouldn't be a big deal.
All these things were kind of small on a grand scheme of playing it, for a couple hours a day, because, by the time you start getting frustrated at something, you can just kind of set it down and play it tomorrow, It doesn't have to be this, well, I have to keep playing because I have to get this note, It's just, you're playing it leisurely. You get the notes whenever you get the notes. If you miss a festival, you'll hit it on the next cycle.
Year, yeah.
It's really doesn't need to be that big of a deal. But for me, most of the frustrating aspects of gameplay fell within that. I'm rushing it.
Oh yeah.
I'm rushing it. And if I wasn't rushing it, this would be a lot more fun.
Yeah, and I did have the upper advantage too of having already played.
Right, yeah. And a lot of that, learning curve you already had. You already knew that you had to check the calendar every day. You already had ingrained that you had to check the weather every day. Where for me, that was an acquired thing. I didn't just know. I just was oh, surprise, today it's raining.
On top of this, a lot of this information, you kind of got talking to townsfolk, but you had to dig up some of that information in your own library and in the other library. And in the TV. You had to learn it from the TV channels.
The, cooking. I had the worst time trying to find recipes.
I will admit, I Googled 90% of my recipes.
I got to the point where I had to Google, how to get notes.
Well, you wouldn't have made it anyway on time.
Yeah, without it? I mean, there were some notes that they were so obscure that it was it's
well, there's one.
Oink oink. You have no idea what the heck is oink oink. What does that mean?
Give you well, if you read the dialogue, the gourmet tells you that the pig sniffs out truffles.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that it would just get full hearts with your pig, kind of like how it was with the dog. So many hearts.
That's what I thought. It was.
But some of those.
I wonder if I never got the truffle note.
Yeah.
I wonder if the more hearts you have with the pig, the more apt he is to find the truffles. I don't know.
From what I read online, the pig was just really unreliable.
Yeah, but I wonder if nobody even bothered to get all the hearts with him, though. If people were saying that because they didn't bother to get the hearts, they just wanted the truffle, and they couldn't do it.
That wasn't what was the hard part for me. One of them was the lost child note, and you're supposed to... First of all, you're supposed to befriend and get moved in Ronald, who, after you have friended him, Meryl moves in, which is another... You have Tim and Meryl, the little kids. So then you have to not only improve Meryl's hearts, but you have to work on little Tim's hearts, and then you trigger the event. That's a lot. That's a year's worth of... almost, unless you're working on it specifically. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because to get Ronald to move in, you have to ship so much fruit and have so many, plant some trees and stuff. It was a lot just for one note.
That's how I felt about getting married, too. There were so many aspects of trying to get married. You had to have, 7 or 8? 8 hearts for the one that you were going to marry.
You had to have 8 hearts with your marriage candidate.
Then you had to
had to heart one of the craftsmen, one of the 3 craftsmen.
That's to get the 3rd level house, which is required for marrying. You to have that option unlocked for the 3rd house, you had to not the 3rd house, the 3rd level.
The upgrade.
Of the house.
So the 6 hearts, you had hearts with the craftsman to get the upgrade, do the upgrade. Then you have... Oh, and I believe it also has something to do with having the bed as an option, too.
Yeah, no, because once you upgrade your house, then the bed just automatically becomes an option.
So then you have to actually buy the bed.
But on top of that, all this stuff is super expensive, so you have to have all the money for all this.
And then you have to do the rock climbing event.
Yep.
And then you finally get married. That's a lot of...
I know, that's a lot of things for trying to...
And to not know those, you would have to figure it out slowly.
And we wanted to add the ring to that option.
I know. I kind of thought about that too.
I mean, as far as gameplay goes, that makes sense, but as far as... as far as story goes, that makes sense, but gameplay-wise, it's like, there's already too much.
I think that it should have been that you were given the ring after you gave the flower.
Yeah.
That would have been a lot more...
I would have just sold it.
And I would have too. But it would have made more sense. Like, you went through all of this work. Yeah. You went and got the flower for your marriage. Like, the least they could have done was giving you a ring after you got married. Yeah. And sell it. At least you would have gotten some of your money back.
Or change your sprite a little bit so you have a ring. Or, I don't know, just something.
Something, yeah.
Something would have been nice.
It was very unrewarding, I have to say. Besides the fact that you wake up every day and you're,
Yeah, and that was fun.
I liked watching mine sleeping in the bed.
I really liked Maria. I thought she had a really cute character design. She had a cute story background.
I thought it was funny you chose Maria. I was really surprised.
Why?
I thought you would have gone for, like, Lila or Gwen.
Originally...
Or not Gwen, but,
yeah, I don't know.
What's her... The sexy lady.
Yeah. Originally, I really liked... I really liked the little pink-haired girl. What was her name?
Nina,
yeah, I liked her.
Lila had pink hair too. I think you would have liked Lila,
but
if you'd seen her.
There was just I just liked the library girl. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
No shame.
She was a cute character design. Yeah. I liked her dialogue, and I don't know. It was fun. So yeah, I gave it an 8.
Yeah, 5 out of 10 for me. So fair.
All right.
Music
4.
I did too. There wasn't much.
There was 4 songs.
4 songs, The Caves, and When Something
Maybe
Died.
The Festivals?
Yeah, there's really very few tracks, honestly. The bare minimum, I have to say.
There was a handful of things that you did where the songs would just stop altogether, where you didn't have any music.
At nighttime?
Yeah,
at 6 o'clock?
That too.
Oh, yeah, just the crickets. I know, at one point I started singing it and Brandon came by and he's like, it's gonna be really weird when you stop playing this game because that's all you heard.
Yeah.
I liked Winter's music, I have to say. I did like the Winter's music.
Okay, so I enjoyed most of the music.
I hated the cave music too.
I enjoyed most of the music. It all fit the season and it all fit that like relaxing mood to the game. But it just got so repetitive.
Yep.
It got to the point, especially in spring. Springs was really annoying, especially towards the end. Like, I was happy when we were talking because I couldn't hear the music on my end.
I know.
I didn't care. I would have been fine turning the music off entirely. It didn't help the game at all, to me.
I think it was cutesy music, like for the game, like the game aesthetic. It was okay, but yeah, and I think because you're playing a game that's already kind of repetitive, the last thing you want to hear is repetitive music.
I know.
Even if they had changed like the music depending on the weather.
Yeah.
Like if it's
or
rainy,
like change
soft.
the tempo or something just to slow it down.
Yeah.
It's the same song, but it's slowed down a little bit because it's rainy.
Do you really want that repetitive song slowed down?
No. But I mean, just to do something to change it up. It was way too much. It was way too much of the same thing every day, over and over and over again. So overall, my overall experience, I gave it a 6 out of 10.
I give it a 7.
For me, it goes back to I rushed through this game. If I played this game like for a real life year or a real life like 4 months, something, a little more than what I tried pushing it through in like a month and a half. I think I would have had more fun. I think I would have enjoyed more aspects of the game. I think I would have taken an in-game year to kind of figure out the controls, figure out my goals, and then maybe an in-game like another 2 or 3 years to perfect it.
Yeah.
And, okay, it's winter. I need to do these specific things because of it being wintertime. Or, okay, it's going to be winter in 3 days, so I need to move my house to this spot. I need to clear this land. I need to do all these things. Check off all these items. I could really have this down to a science. Where doing it in a short amount of time, in a short run, it was just like a figure it out, do it, just do it to get it done. And
I kind of was in there trying to help you through it too.
That said, that mentality of just do whatever it takes to get it done, I didn't really like. I didn't like, well, if I just like not worry about having any crops, then I can focus on all these other things. Or if I don't worry about the chicken, I can focus on all these things.
Which isn't how it should be played.
Right.
It's not fair to the game.
For me, I had more fun when I first started. It was just kind of a, figure out what you had to do to play the game. Like, I enjoyed just like the mindlessness of sitting and having all my crops for the day. And, today is a crop day, so I can sell all my crops, and that's what I do for that day. I enjoyed that aspect of it, but when you start tossing in trying to focus your time on the notes, it becomes tedious and kind of boring. Again, we're talking about the way that we played it, the way that I played it, focusing on the notes wasn't fun.
No.
If the notes is a secondary thing and you're just like playing the game for what it's meant to be played, and you get the notes when you get the notes, you get the 50 notes when you get your 50 notes, and then you beat the game. But the way that we played it, I didn't like it. Like
I said, I had played this game before, so I kind of already had an idea of a lot of these notes already. I tried to beat the one, and I would have for sure gotten it if we had the rest of the 2 weeks that we kind of would have liked to have had scheduled. I could do it. I kind of had it formulated down, and I kind of had it. I didn't, when I first played, I think my file that I still had saved, I was in year 3, and by year 2, like, the month before where it was saved on the other file, I already had met the same notes requirement.
Right.
Or notes that I had in the other file. So, I was already ahead. And after I had worked on the notes that I had really dreaded, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So formulating out a plan wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I got bored very quick, so it would have been better if I wasn't trying to beat it so fast. But I think if you like Harvest Moons, if that's your thing, and you like this game, that this would be a really enjoyable game. Like, the notes wouldn't be that bad.
Right, yeah. So, that kind of really is what it came down to for me was, the way that we played it, I don't think it was meant to be played that way, and it just, made it less fun.
So yeah.
So what was your total score?
I was a 31 out of 50.
I was a 33 out of 50.
I gave it a 64.
64.
That's...
it's funny because when we do our totals, I usually just double whatever I've done, and it's like, usually I can guess about, what the score is going to be, unless for some reason your experience was drastically different than what I did. But yeah, so a 64, that gives it into a D range. So, it's a solid D. But,
I feel like it's a C, though, at least. I loved this game. I gave it, the overall I put down as a 7 out of 10. Despite the game mechanics, it's a nice long-term game. It's relaxing. I was so excited to play this game. I was so excited. And I had a lot of troubles deciding on what Harvest Moon I wanted to play. But I knew that it wouldn't score good because of the game mechanics, and I knew this already, but it's like, I felt like it was a C. It has D score, but it's worth a C, I swear.
I think some of the things that I think would have brought it to a C. The gameplay mechanics were, if they were a little bit better, if there was a little more interaction with like the main storyline. Yeah, and the characters too. If there was a little more interaction with the characters, I don't think it would have taken a whole lot to give it a better score. Seriously, the music was what hurt it the most.
Yeah.
I mean, if the music was a little bit better, if, there was more variety, maybe have a set of spring songs.
Right.
Of like 3 that rotated out. That would have been fine. Just change it up a little bit. Just a little bit would have been perfect. So, it kind of deserves the D in my mind. I mean,
no, it does.
I didn't really have that much of a fun time playing this game. If we'd have given it more time to play it like this game is meant to be played, I think it would have had a better score. But our experience was a D. Your experience might be drastically different.
Might be a C. Read the
might
fanfiction.
Be a B. I don't know.
Read the fanfiction. It'll definitely help this game pop.
watch
some chapter 1.
Watch some of our gameplay, and see some of the craziness that we talk about.
What's the sleep deprivation?
Well, while I'm standing outside of Maria's house screaming, "Open the door! I know you're in there!" Oh man, so yeah, kind of sad, but it's all right. I still had a really fun time playing this game. I think, again, a lot of the fun that I had was just hanging out with you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
About
and it's nice
what we were already playing.
Because, some of these other games, I can, pop in and stuff, but if I haven't played where you're playing, it's I can't really just pop in and just watch with you.
This really was a good game for that.
It was a lot of fun.
To be able to just sit and we're both playing the same game, just kind of mindlessly doing whatever it is that we need to do.
I would look forward to another these types of games.
Sure,
to do that again.
I mean, really, Animal Crossing is kind of the same sort of platform. I mean, it's really the same formula.
I think it would be more enjoyable, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's more variety.
There's more interaction with some of the animals. There's more interaction with some of the appliances. You can actually put bugs in your house. That's fun. I'm sure we'll play more games like this in the future. I mean, you really like these games. Right. I can tolerate them just fine. So, I can see more of these games.
This is payback for Final Fantasy 1.
Oh, man. So, yeah, let's switch over to our Thrift Shop game today, which was Sim Animals.
So, I guess this is my fault. I really didn't acknowledge. Oh, no, I guess it is a sim game, because there's the little...
I know, yeah, I know.
The little Plum Bob.
Plum Bob?
I thought this was just, a simulator animals. No, this...
Oh, it totally is, but...
This is a sim game,
Yeah,
legit.
It's a legit, EA sim game. It's just... was awful.
Yeah.
I got this at a garage sale for $2. I believe I overpaid.
Yeah. By what, $2? By $3?
By $3, yeah. It was published in 2008. It was thrown away in 2018.
Oh.
The year that I played this. No, it's... it might have been more fun with one player, but both of us trying to was around the screen was really difficult. It was
it's
really
a 4-player game.
Yeah, can you believe it? I don't know how it would have been a 4-player game. It was so bad. The animal animations really sucked. The environment that you were in was kind of okay, but I was so bored after the 20 minutes that we played. I think we played a half hour total. And I was bored within the first 20 minutes.
It was do we want to keep... No, we're done.
Yeah, I know. It was just...
I can't... Just because you can doesn't mean you should make it a multiplayer game.
Yes. I just didn't have fun with this at all.
I was kind of sad. I was really looking forward to seeing a bunch of I was seeing a Sims game, but with in the wild or something. I don't know.
I think had we gone on to the other areas, we would have had more different animals. But I don't know if that would have made it any more fun. No. It would have just been the same formula, just with a different set of animals. It just, I don't know. It was clunky at best.
Yeah. Earning the animal's trust was extremely hard.
Yes. And
especially
then you had to
you had to do it for each controller.
Each controller, and you had to put them in your backpack, and then as soon as you took them out of your backpack, the heart system changed. it was a mess. It really was.
Don't play this
Don't
game.
play it. Yeah, don't play it. If you want to play it, if you're thinking, hey,
I like animals.
Sims animals. This might be a fun game. Watch our gameplay and then decide. Then decide if you want to play this game. Because
then you can have it.
Yeah, just let us know and we will ship it to you for free because I don't want it in my library. I don't need it. I would be more than happy to ship it to somebody who wants this game. So, yeah. Overall story, don't play it.
Don't.
Just
play
save
Magical
yourself,
Melody instead.
Just save yourself some time and do not play this game. So, I'm giving you a break next month.
Yay! I still might play Magical Melody. I might.
You might.
Joshua loved this game.
Yeah.
I would play it. We kind of have it set up in our like informal dining room because that's kind of like the play area. So I'd sit there and play. And every time I entered the barn, Josh would run over to the TV and he'd point. And every time the cow moved, he'd point and point and point. And
yeah. Call him Kitty.
Yeah, he calls everything Kitty. I named my baby Joshua, by the way.
Nice. Yeah, we really didn't talk about the baby aspect of it.
Yeah.
Maria was pregnant when I saved it for the last time and turned my system off.
She's forever pregnant in your game now. Mm-hmm. She'll never be not pregnant.
Nope.
That's a terrible fate.
I'm sorry.
It's a terrible fate.
I'm sorry, Maria. I did the best I could.
As a previous pregnant lady, that's a terrible fate.
To be forever pregnant. Pregnant?
My preference?
So, the next podcast episode, which will be, what, November 1st? Yes.
Wow, time is flying.
I know, it happens. November 1st podcast episode, we are moving to the Switch.
Yay!
I'm actually going to be playing Overcooked 2 for the Switch. That can, actually, we can just take that out. We're playing Overcooked 2. I've already played quite a bit of it with Lori, so we're just gonna keep playing till we beat it.
I suck.
It's a fun game. It's super addicting. It's really difficult one player, but it's a super fun game, so I'm really excited to sit down and talk about it. We've been playing... I think we streamed a little bit of it when me and Lori first started, so you might be able to see that somewhere. Probably on Facebook. But yeah, we've been playing that for a while, so I'm excited to get that game finished and sit down and talk about it. We have Seth and Evan that are going to be doing Halo 1. That review should be out November 15th, so we got 2 games in the works right now. And then we'll have you back on for something fun and exciting. So, hope you guys look forward to all the cool stuff that we've got going on. You can find all of our gameplay footage for Magical Melody over on our YouTube page. Please go over there and subscribe for us. It really does help us out. Like, I know YouTubers say that all the time, and I didn't really realize
the bell
it.
icon to be notified.
I didn't really realize how much it really does help the channel until I started, like, having my own channel, and it really does help. Like, it really does help just because of how YouTube works. Like, the more subscribers you have, the more you get seen. Not just by your own subscribers, but by people who haven't subscribed. So, people who are listening, just go over there and subscribe to our YouTube page just to help us out a little bit. You know, I know that you guys are out there. I know that you guys are listening to this podcast. So, if you could just do this little favor for us, even if you don't listen or watch any of our content, just go over there and subscribe for us. That would be awesome. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode, or watching or listening, depending on how you get your media. And we will see you guys next month.